Officer Christopher Wall suffered a gunshot wound and unfortunately passed away at the hospital. Officer Overton sustained non-life-threatening injuries and is being treated at a local hospital.
We begin with a mass shooting at the Come and Go on Chestnut Expressway and Highway 65 overnight. Breaking this morning, 5 people total were killed overnight, including the shooter. We have team coverage of this tragic event. Elizabeth Van Mitri is near the convenience store where this all happened. First, though, we will get to Lexi Spivak, who is live at the Springfield Police Department with the latest from there. Lexi.
Yeah, Sarah, so just a really terrible morning here at the Springfield Police Department where they're still grieving that loss of one of their own, obviously. As you've already mentioned, 5 people in total were killed in this overnight shooting, including that Springfield police officer, 3 others who just happened to be at the gas station at the time of the shooting, and then the suspected shooter, who we know died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Now, we want to listen in to part of the news conference that I was at earlier this morning around 6 o'clock with Chief Paul Williams.
It is way too early. I'll just leave it at that. We're still actively investigating multiple crime scenes and dealing with grieving over the loss of one of our own.
All right, so again, that was Springfield Police Chief Paul Williams, again, just really struggling, him and his entire department. If it's setting in that they have lost one of their own police officers this morning, we do want to go over how this all started, though. We know this started around 11:30 last night when they started getting calls of shots fired around Battlefield and Lone Pine. Then, soon after that, they started getting calls from all across the city, multiple shooting locations, but then things eventually ended at the Come and Go gas station on East Chestnut Expressway, where we were told by Chief Paul Williams that that driver actually crashed into the Come and Go gas station and then went inside and started firing at anyone who was in there. That includes customers and employees. So again, if you are just joining us this morning, we know that 5 people were killed in this overnight shooting, including 1 Springfield police officer, 3 others who were inside that gas station, and then also the suspected shooter. We also know 2 others are in an area hospital this morning, including another Springfield police officer who are being treated for their gunshot wounds. Right now, we want to send it over to Elizabeth Van Mitri this morning. She is at that Come and Go gas station where all of this went down.
Yes, thank you, Lexi. I'm on East Chestnut Expressway, west of Highway 65, and you can see there are still officers behind me working this scene. Throughout the morning, I told you about a half a dozen. Well, there are clearly over a dozen officers that have now made their way to work on this investigation at this Come and Go where this event happened this morning. Police officers getting that call around 11:30 last night, saying that there was gunfire going off, and they responded to that. It all ending here at this Come and Go. Now, if Chestnut Expressway is part of your morning commute, they're asking that you find an alternate route this morning and throughout the day. I did speak with the police officer just a bit ago who told me that they will not be clearing up this scene anytime soon. This is going to be an all-day event, so this area right here will be closed off for no-through traffic. Reporting from Springfield, Elizabeth Van Mitri, back to you.
All right, Elizabeth and Lexi, thank you very much. Here's what we know right now. 5 people died in the mass shooting last night. That includes the officer, Springfield officer Christopher Wall. He died at the hospital after the shootout at the Come and Go. 3 people died at the Come and Go. The gunman also died at that gas station from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Meantime, another officer injured here in this shootout overnight, Officer Josiah Overton from the Springfield Police Department. We're told he's in the hospital with a gunshot wound. 1 citizen also injured in the shootout, wounded by the gunfire at the Come and Go. We understand this is fluid. This could change throughout the day. We understand there are at least 4 different crime scenes, including the crime scene Elizabeth showed you just a moment ago at the Come and Go. Finally, Springfield's mayor and Missouri's governor are both offering condolences, and they are asking you for your prayers for all the families touched by this horrific incident overnight. Now, we're going to have live coverage of this breaking story throughout the day on KY3, on KY3.com, and you can find it also on our news apps. I want to bring you this. This is another really big story here. This is the coronavirus, and we're talking about how different hospitals in the area are reacting to this. Beginning today, Cox Health will offer free virtual visits for people worried about symptoms related to COVID-19. That's this part right here. It's kind of small on your screen. That's in bold. The virtual visits will allow for doctor-patient interactions via email or through a web-based portal. It's available to anyone experiencing symptoms of COVID-19. Could include a fever, a cough, respiratory distress. From that point, a physician can decide if you need a referral to a testing site location created in partnership with Cox, Mercy, and Jordan Valley. Meantime, we want to show you this too. Both Mercy and Cox are stepping in and doing different things to limit your risk of getting coronavirus. They're limiting patient visitors to 1 per patient per day. Mercy has stated exceptions, well, they may be made for those receiving end-of-life care. No one will be allowed to visit any patient suspected of having COVID-19. No one under the age of 18, except those seeking medical care, will be allowed in Cox Health facilities. Now, if you want more information about this, you can go to our website. You can also visit the Mercy or Cox websites. Sarah?
Ticket sales for movies here in the States are at the lowest levels in 2 decades due to the coronavirus. Gary York is the owner of the Glass Sword Theater in West Plains. He says crowds and business had stayed pretty normal up until this week. Now sales are down 55%. Studios have already postponed release dates for upcoming movies like the new James Bond, Quiet Place 2, and Mulan. York says he's expecting even more movies will be postponed, and that means theaters will have no new movies to show. That could also force him to close his doors. Moviegoers, though, said this weekend they're being cautious, but they are not planning to let this virus dictate every aspect of their lives.
We won't have any product to show. If that is the case and we still feel like we can safely open, we may go back to showing older movies at a discount. You know, something like an Urban Cowboy or something of that nature, to bring back an old one. And we may just entirely close. If we feel like that if there's that much danger, we'll do it.
We still believe in getting out there. I mean, if everybody stays home and does nothing, businesses are going to go under. You know, life is going to end, and that's just not logical. I'm not going to believe that, so.
They say that they're going to keep the theater open as long as possible based on demand and public safety.
Rain moving through the Ozarks this morning. There are some patches where it's a little heavy. This is actually going to decrease with time, but pretty widespread right now. We've got other chances coming up this week and a warming trend, at least for now. I'll have the forecast next.